Welcome back, Shadow Seekers. I'm Lee.
And I'm B.
Tonight we're traveling to the year 1848 to a farmhouse in Hydesville, New York. Two sisters, just children at the time, would hear strange knocks in the night, knocks that forever changed the way people thought about the spirit world.
Those knocks were said to come from the dead, and what began as a curious parlor trick would ignite a worldwide movement, spiritualism.
We're talking about the Fox sisters, visionaries, tricksters, or both.
Get comfortable, light a candle, because the story of the Fox sisters is as mysterious as the spirits they claim to summon.
So let's start at the beginning. The Fox family moved to Hydesville, New York on a small wooden farmhouse. It was the spring of 1848.
Maggie was 14, Kate just 11. Their older sister, Leah, didn't live with them, but she became very important later.
The house itself had a history. Locals whispered it was haunted. Strange noises, unexplained knocks, and soon the Fox family started experiencing them too.
One night, the sisters began communicating with whatever was making the sounds. They developed a code: 1 knock for yes, 2 for no, and suddenly it had a voice.
Neighbors came to witness it. Imagine a group of villagers huddled in a dark farmhouse, listening to questions answered by unseen forces.
I would have thought these kids were either crazy or lying, especially after like last week's episode.
Yeah, with the kids.
And then the claims of witchcraft. So like how I think this is like a little less than 200 years from like the last episode witch trials to this, because that was 1690 something, I think, that it made a difference in belief and shift in like perceiving differences and tolerating it. Because how is it that not even 200 years before you're willing to like burn people at the stake, hang them, completely arrest anybody and put them in jail or in an asylum for witchcraft or insanity? And you just took these girls for their word. And that was what, Massachusetts? And this is New York. So it's not like it was a big distance and difference.
But I wonder when they stopped all the witchcraft thing, like, did it just die away and people just forgot about it and didn't care anymore? Because if this happened back at that time, people would think, oh, they're witches or somebody's a witch, you know, if you're able to communicate with the spirit.
Or possessed by like the devil.
And then they would probably be like hung just because of that reason.
Yeah.
So when they stopped all the witchcraft thing and they realized the kids were lying and all this stuff and they were done with it, I wonder if just people stopped caring about witches. Like it wasn't a big deal anymore. And then that's when spiritualism like kind of rose and, you know, started becoming popular.
It said like this was the start of spiritualism. So I wonder when, because, you know, the witch trials were global. So I'm wondering when it stopped in everywhere else for it to all of a sudden be like, oh, this is acceptable. Because even today, we do not care.
Yeah.
A freaking alien can literally just walk past me on the street and I'd be like, okay,
I'll be like, "That was cool."
listen, we survived the C word. I ain't got time for you.
Yeah, but there's not a lot that scares me, I would say, or I would will freak me out. Like you said, if an alien walked down the street, I would just look at it like, "That just happened."
The baby wanted to watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We couldn't find the one that I wanted to, so we watched the fourth one, which has Matthew McConaughey, and he's actually the bad guy. And I was saying to the baby, like, that's more scary to me than any monster. Because that's a real life person who's just killing and like laughing in your face. And you could kill this guy, but that's so much scarier than any monster or an alien will ever be. I'm
Mhm.
more scared of people
Yeah.
than anything else. I don't know what they're thinking, what they could do, or what will make somebody snap in a
Mhm.
moment.
That's what Jake is afraid of all this, like, ghost stuff and everything, and I always tell him, like, "People are scarier than ghosts." Like, yeah, you can't see what you're fighting, I understand that,
Yeah.
but people do worse things. Like, the ghost is just there, probably living in his own timeline, doesn't even understand, like, what's going on, where a
Probably can't
person
even
can
touch you.
exactly, and a person can walk into your house and torture you for days before anybody even finds out what's going on.
I think because men, I think all men think they can take any dude. You know what I
That's
mean?
why he said, "I can't fight what I can't see." So at least if this person breaks into the house, he can see them and fight them.
Yeah.
Where, like, if there's, like, God forbid, a demonic presence in the house or a ghost, he can't see what he needs to do to get rid of it.
But I think that's where women
I
differ
said, "Make a
because
salt circle and step inside of it." Like, literally, have you not watched Supernatural?
put it around the bed.
Exactly. I
But
said, "I'll tell you what you need to do. Don't worry
yeah,
about it."
I'm like, we're for women, we're like, I ain't scared of no demon. You over there in the corner, stay there. That's it.
Exactly. You just
I'm
wanna
going to
see what
sleep.
I'm doing, just stay there and just watch me.
But if like all the lights in my house go out and all of a sudden like or like the purge or somebody like a man or a person trying to get in, I'm a woman. I can't fight you. Where's my weapon? And then
Yeah,
are you gonna take it from me? Like, no. No.
exactly.
Tony's the same way. He hates watching like if it's a scary movie and say like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and since it's a real person that's the villain, he doesn't like it because he's like, oh, this is boring. I'd rather watch a movie with like a really scary monster or spirits. And
Mhm.
I'm like, that's not scary to me. A real person where it's like the calls coming from inside the house. What do you mean the calls coming from inside the house?
Yeah, but I don't like slasher movies. I don't like all the screaming and, like, unnecessary killing. I don't like, what's that called? When people eat each other,
Oh, cannibalism?
like cannibalism, like Wrong Turn. To me, that's disgusting. Like, I don't like those kind of movies. I like a lot of demonic possessions, ghost type of haunted movies
Well, I know
and
like
shows.
I think it's Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then there's another one. Um, is it? Oh, now like Silence of the Lamb. Now
I like that one. I did
that's
like
a
that
scary
one.
movie. Yeah, I like
Because to me,
Hannibal.
that's psychological. I
Yeah.
like psychological.
The sisters claim the spirit was a murdered peddler buried beneath the house.
People even tried digging under the cellar to find bones. Rumors swirled, but no evidence was conclusive.
Still, the story stuck, and soon the Fox sisters were no longer just farm children. They were gateways to the other side. But my thing is, one, how did the parents, because they were children, they were only 11 and 14, how did the parents even allow these people to dig up on their property?
Yeah,
And then two, when they didn't find anything, how come they still believed them? I'm like, you said this guy
exactly.
was buried under your house. He told you this. We're looking and there's nothing there. I'm no longer believing you. Now you're a liar.
Yeah. Mhm.
So how they even gain popularity from that? Where's the guy? Where's this peddler?
Exactly.
Who's
Yeah.
knocking?
Exactly. Who
No.
was telling you the bones are there?
Listen, and the thing is, if they would have never said that he was buried under the house, I would have believed you. I would have believed
Yeah,
you.
exactly. Because it wasn't, like, pinpointed to a certain spot.
Yeah.
So
But
it
now
could be anywhere on the
exactly.
property.
But now you're telling me he's buried under the house, and now we're gonna dig him up and find him, but then we don't. To me, you lose credibility. You're better off not even saying where this guy was buried.
Yeah, that's true. Leah, the oldest sister, realized that attention could be turned into something bigger. She essentially became their manager.
And just like that, seances were born. Dark rooms, hushed voices, people holding hands, waiting for a spirit to knock.
You have to remember, this was the mid 19th century. Life expectancy was short, disease was everywhere. Spiritualism offered comfort. It said death wasn't the end.
Parents who lost their children, widows mourning husbands, suddenly they could believe their loved ones were still near.
Newspapers covered it, lectures were given, and the sisters traveled from town to town. They became the faces of an international movement.
How did things become international back then?
Well, the newspapers, I guess it goes quick. Like, you know how there's a story, everybody has to get it, you know what I mean? And make it something. So
But
maybe the newspapers.
I feel like international back then is a stretch. I feel
And
like,
this was the what, the 1800s, like
yeah,
towards the end of the 1800s. So you really only had newspapers.
but I feel like international, the only other place you probably going is England, is Europe.
Yeah.
They're the only
Yeah.
probably other people that heard and cared.
But that's what I'm saying. How did they hear? Just from the newspapers circulating everywhere?
Probably because then you had like trips, I mean, not trips, ships
Yeah.
transporting, trade,
Ships picking up the newspapers, people trying to have something to do.
or
Yeah.
even by word of mouth too. If you're, because a lot of people back then there were only ships to travel by. So, and a lot of people were migrating from other countries here. So
Mhm.
then like letters as well. And like also figuring out how did they figure out how to do a seance?
They winged it.
And are like, and this is what worked. Because
This was working.
I feel like real medium, I don't know. I've never seen a medium, and 2, I'm not one, so I'm not sure. But, like, I feel like, when you see the ones on TV, they don't need to do all that
Mm-mm.
tables with the candles and with the lights off. And, like, even the one guy who does the show with, like, the celebrities, it's literally just him and them with his
Well,
note
back then you needed it because maybe people were more skeptic, so you had
I
to
guess
give them the whole ambiance of
you
it,
needed to
like.
put a show on.
Yeah, for them
Okay.
to believe it. And plus,
Okay.
there was a lot of fakes out there. You have to remember that. So the dark and the candles hid the things that they were doing to make
Hit
you
the hidden
believe. Yeah,
theatrics.
yeah,
Yeah.
Now they're not hiding anything. They have nothing to hide. Either you're a medium or you're not, you know what I mean?
And you
So
believe or you don't.
exactly.
They still making money. They don't care. Now, of course, not everyone believed. Skeptics wanted proof. Scientists, clergy, even magicians studied them.
Is this really a ghost or just a clever trick?
Investigators noticed the girls never seemed to be touched by spirits, yet the knocking always followed them. Eventually, it was claimed they would crack the joints in their toes and knees loudly enough to echo like knocks.
Toe cracking mediums? Not exactly terrifying when you put it that way.
But people wanted to believe so badly. They didn't care. And honestly, even if the knocks weren't supernatural, the feeling of connection was real. Okay, that's nasty.
Okay, how do you crack your toes loud enough that people think it's a knocking?
Listen,
I don't
I
know
had
even know how to crack my toes.
I had the same exact thought. You need a doctor
Or your
because
knees. How are you cracking your knees while you're sitting down?
in on command, how at that
Yeah.
how like if I crack my fingers, I can't crack them again in 5 minutes.
No, but if I crack my fingers, you will see my hand cracking my
No,
fingers.
but what I'm saying is like they're cracking
But
their
they're
toes.
yeah, but not with their hands because
No,
people
I'm
are not seeing them
but
do
what
it.
I'm saying is how can they repeatedly crack a joint,
Yeah.
is what I mean. Usually when a joint cracks, it can't re-crack at least for a while. Then again, there is to it, let me crack my joints, and in 10
Yeah,
minutes, you
but
crack your joints. I don't know, it's so weird.
I don't know.
And it
If
grosses
they're doing like an hour show and the spirit is knocking for yes and no, and no being 2 knocks, that's a lot of cracking. That's
Yeah,
a
it is.
lot of cracking
Yeah,
within
it
that
is.
hour.
I don't know, and it's just gross. Like, listen, I didn't need to know that. I didn't need to know it was your joints cracking. And how is it so loud that everyone can hear? So gross.
Over time, divisions grew. Other mediums popped up, many copying the Fox sisters. Spiritualism became a huge cultural force, sometimes serious, sometimes a spectacle.
The sisters struggled personally too. Fame, money, alcohol, and pressure from critics took a toll. Maggie and Kate, in particular, had rough relationships and trouble with drinking.
They were at their core, young women thrust into the spotlight, carrying the weight of an entire movement.
It says Maggie and Kate, in particular, had it rough. I mean, who else would have had it rough? They were the two doing all the work. Leah
Mhm.
didn't do anything. She just
She
managed
was a
them.
manager, so she was probably like, "This is what you have to do.
Yeah.
This is how often you have to do it. This is where we're going," and it just was too much. It was a lot of pressure on them.
Okay. So Leah was a lot older than the sisters. 1848. She was 35. So she was 35 years old. They're 14 and 11, and she became their manager. Of course they had it rough. This is someone essentially she would have been like the age of their mother.
Mhm. Yeah, mother figure.
Yeah, so for her to like take them on, that means she wasn't caring for them. That means she didn't care for their well-being at all.
No.
Because for you to
She wanted
allow them,
money.
yeah, and for you to allow them, one, to even get into alcohol and abuse any of the vices that they were abusing, that should have never happened. You should
Well,
have been
maybe
looking
she
out for
allowed
them.
it because it made them more, I don't know, relaxed. If they were tense, if they were nervous.
I guess, but they're still 11 and
Well,
14,
yeah,
like,
if you don't care about them, you're not gonna care what they're doing as long as you're
and
making
where
that
the hell were
money.
the parents?
I guess they trusted their oldest.
Yeah, she only cared about the money. She didn't
Yeah,
care.
unless they gave the parents money too. I have no clue.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how as an older sister you can let that happen. Then again, it's why she came back because she wasn't living with them,
Or
obviously.
maybe she was so much older that she didn't really have a bond to them, so she just saw them as just kids, not
Proba
really like a sister bond with them.
I guess because it did say when they moved into that house where all the paranormal activity was happening, she wasn't living there.
Mhm.
She saw the popularity that the sisters got, and she came back and then became their manager. For
Yeah, she
all I
wanted a
know,
piece of that pie.
and it also could have been out of jealousy. In 1888, decades after it all began, Maggie Fox stepped onto the stage of the New York Academy of Music. The hall was packed.
And she confessed.
It's a trick. We use our toes, and all of it was fraud.
The audience was stunned. Spiritualists were horrified,
But here's the twist. Months later, Maggie recanted. She said she'd only confessed out of anger and desperation.
which leaves us wondering, were they frauds or had they really touched something beyond the veil? So I have this literature about the confession.
Yeah.
So in 1888, the two sisters traveled to New York City where a reporter offered $1,500 if they would expose their methods and give him an exclusive on a story. So Margaret appeared publicly at the New York Academy of Music on October 21st, 1888, with Kate present. Before an audience of 2,000, Margaret demonstrated how she could produce, at will, raps audible throughout the theater. Doctors from the audience came on stage to verify that the cracking of her toe joints was the source of the sound. So she confessed for the money. She was given a $1,500 from the reporter to do it.
No, I get
And then
that.
maybe after she got the money, she recanted just so they can keep continuing, the
Yeah.
business.
No, yeah, I get that. I still don't get how you're repeatedly cracking your toes.
Yeah.
What's wrong with your feet? She said she did it out of anger and desperation.
Desperation, maybe money. 'Cause they are now, like, alcoholics at this point.
Yeah.
And then, Margaret told her story of the origins of the mysterious wrappings. She said, "When we went to bed at night, we used to tie an apple to a string and move the string up and down, causing the apple to bump on the floor. Or we would drop the apple on the floor, making a strange noise every time it would rebound. Mother listened to this for a time. She would not understand it and did not suspect us as being capable of a trick because we were so young." So during the night of March 31st, Kate challenged an invisible noisemaker, presumed to be a quote unquote spirit, to repeat the snaps of her fingers. So they made their mother believe that it was a spirit because she
Got
did
it.
not think that they would be um, able to trick her like that.
Or even to, I guess, create something that would even be able to do that. I mean, there were
Maybe the
11 and
hauntings,
14. They ain't got nothing else
yeah.
to do. Ain't no
Maybe,
TV.
like, the hauntings in their house was just them
Yeah, playing around
convincing their parents, like, "Our house is haunted and there's a spirit, like, talking to us."
and then tricking other people.
Mhm.
What it was is they were doing something for fun, and then their
And their
sister
parents
came.
took it too far because did the parents invite the neighbors to come and listen to this?
But that's still one thing. It's the sister who came
Well,
and then
yeah.
took them from town to town. So now it became even bigger. It's one thing, they created something in their own house to create these noises that they can do in the comfort of their own home and still make it believable. Now we gotta go from town to town. Now we have to create new things that are
Yeah,
gonna
but
make
think
it
about it, if
sound.
the neighbors came to the house to listen to this and witness it, they're gonna tell other people in the town.
You can still come to my
And
house, but
yeah, but they're spreading the word like, "Oh my god, I went to so and so's house and it's
yeah,
haunted and we were hearing all this stuff in the middle of the night." You know what I mean? So now the rumors are spreading around the town. So now
yeah,
people probably wanna meet them. Like, "Who are
yeah.
these girls? This, and that." So the sister, the oldest sister, she's like, "Cha-ching, and let's go make this money because people are gonna pay for it."
No, and I get that. It's still like, but the difference of now you're taking the show on the road, how are they gonna recreate
Mhm.
what they created in their house in a whole other different environment? That had to be very stressful. Also, what they did for fun, now it's a job. It's so stressful probably for them to continue the lie.
It's like,
It's
how did the older sister know? Like, who told them to crack your toes and your ankles to be able to make these sounds? Like,
yeah,
did the older sister, like, show them how to do it or force them to
yeah,
figure it out, to create this knocking noise again? Like, even if it says to repeat the snaps of her fingers, like, this one thing to snap your finger, but now you don't want people to see that you're doing anything. That's
yeah,
why you're doing your toes and ankles or knees or
mhm.
whatever it is so people
Things that
can't
could,
see it.
like, hide under a tablecloth or
No, because I'm sure at that time you're wearing these long dresses.
mhm.
So everything is hidden underneath the dresses, so you can't
Yeah,
see it.
but it's still too it was something 11 and 14, you don't know the consequences of your actions or your lies,
Mhm,
so for them, this was just fun, a
mhm.
prank,
Yeah.
but now you have somebody who's making you continue this lie for, what, 40, 50 years? I'd be so done.
Mhm.
I think I would've been done after, like, 2 years. I'm done, like, now I
Hence
can't.
hence, you become an alcoholic to be able to deal with it.
Yeah. Because I wanna live a real life now. Of course, their their life was rough. Of course, they didn't have any romantic ties to anyone because their life is a lie, and now you bring a partner in, and you can't tell the truth because you can't trust that person that they wouldn't tell
Mhm.
anybody, or your sisters are like, "You can never reveal this to anyone." So your life is always a lie, and it's a continual lie. Yeah, of course, you're messed up in the head.
Yeah.
You have nobody true, no one you could trust except the other 2 people who are also complicit in the lies that you're telling. That's gotta be so
And
hard.
I think the only kind of men you're going to really, be able to be with is spiritual men, men that believe in this, men that think that you are really talking to spirits. So you're attracting the same type of people towards you, not somebody else where you can breathe, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And not have to do what you're doing. You still have to continue the same lie because now this boyfriend that you have believes in it and you have to continue it. You know what I mean?
or
For him.
another swindler, which you also still can't trust because they're also not trustworthy because who's to say they wouldn't sell your secret?
Exactly. So you
'Cause
have to continue
they
your
know
lie to
it's
make
fake.
sure it's true. You have to
So you
continue it.
feel comfortable because now they know it's fake. I don't have to keep this charade up in my own home. But then it's that, well, wait, can I even trust you?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's sad. See, regardless of the truth, the Fox sisters sparked a movement. Seances, spirit photography, Ouija boards, even the modern paranormal community. None of it would exist without them.
And maybe that's the real power of their story. They showed people what they wanted most, that death is not the end.
And even now, in the silence of an old house, when the wood creaks, when a knock comes in the night, we can't help but wonder. Though I don't wonder, I ignore. Not everything that knocks at night needs to be answered or acknowledged, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, that's like the baby say, "Did you hear that? I heard it. I'm good."
So, a couple things about Kate and Maggie. So, Kate and Maggie make an appearance in the show Supernatural episode The Mentalist, where Kate is a good ghost and Maggie is a violent spirit.
Oh, really? But it's not really
Mhm.
them, it's just, like, a
Oh,
representation
no,
of
it's
them?
just it was an
Oh, okay.
episode, so they used Kate and Maggie in that. And also, Harry Houdini, the magician who devoted a large part of his life to debunking spiritualists' claims, provided this insight. As to the delusion of sound, sound waves are deflected just as light waves are reflected by the intervention of a proper medium, and under certain conditions, it is a difficult thing to locate their source. So I guess like when they are in like this theater and there's like hundreds of people and they're popping and cracking and it's kind of echoing, you know what I mean? I guess
Yeah.
he's saying like it's kind of hard to know where exactly that sound is coming from.
Like, and that was one of the things that said, like, even magicians were also skeptical, and I was wondering, like, why do magicians care? That's a whole other field.
Mhm.
Like,
I guess because they do magic and they're kinda
I
like, "You're
yeah.
doing a trick.
Maybe
You're"
because 'cause they're playing for an audience, and now you're taking my
Mhm.
audience,
Exactly.
but I'm like when it said that, I was like, "Who cares?"
Yeah, so also Margaret Fox in her later years said, "The neighbors were convinced that someone had been murdered in the house. They asked the spirits through us about it, and we would rap, 1 for the spirit, answer yes. Not 3, as we did afterward. The murder, they concluded, must have been committed in the house. They went over the whole surrounding country trying to get the names of people who had formerly lived in the house. Finally, they found a man by the name of Bell, and they said that this poor innocent man had committed a murder in the house and that the noises had come from the spirit of the murdered person. Poor Bell was shunned and looked upon by the whole community as a murderer." So somebody actually was accused of it, and they basically destroyed his life.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Going back to Houdini, what's so funny is I did a TikTok about the Palace Theater. And at the Palace Theater, there was a seance. It was the son of a magician. This magician was friends with Houdini. So apparently, when Houdini was alive, him and two other magicians agreed to send messages back from the other side if it was possible. So it's funny how he was trying to debunk it, but a part of him really didn't believe in it because he created this pact with two other magicians, and there was a seance held at the Palace Theater where they were trying to get one of the 3 to come through, but the medium who is leading the seance ended up having a stroke during
Okay, I
the
think I heard
seance,
this. Yeah, I think you told me.
and it was never closed out. Well, I would think if you would've
Mhm.
heard it if
Yeah.
you listened to our videos on TikTok.
No, I think you told me, not
Oh,
TikTok
okay.
video. I think you told me, and it was never
Before.
closed. It stayed open, so hence
Yeah.
the haunting.
Yeah, which means and they were saying that another seance needs to be held to close the door.
Mhm.
So, it's funny that, you say, like, he had this skepticism towards the Fox sisters, but it was also in him to make this pact with 2 other magicians to be like, "Let's try to communicate after that. Like, let's do it." So, you weren't that skeptical. I think what it was, you just wanted more proof to truly believe.
Yeah.
Like,
That's what I
you're
think.
a non-believer. But if
Mhm.
you're sitting here making a pact to do something, you believe it. You believe it
Yeah.
at least 65% of you believes. So, that doesn't make you a skeptic, it's just you probably didn't believe these women.
I think you were trying to find your own what is it called?
Path?
Not your own path, but, like, you want to see it with your own eyes or like, you
Yeah.
didn't want someone else saying, "Oh, this is what's going on." You're like, "No, I wanna see it for myself. I
Yes.
wanna experience it for myself."
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are like that when they like, they don't wanna believe a place is haunted unless they themselves have
Mhm.
experienced the haunting.
And even
And
skeptics don't believe it until it happens to them.
and a lot of times they don't even believe it then. Then they bring logic into it, which, of course. And they were
Mhm.
like, "Oh, it was probably, like, the pipes," or there was maybe a crack in the window, or, it's just creaky floorboards, maybe it's rats. I don't know. But, yeah, it's true, and I think too, because it was saying more mediums came out when the Fox sisters started to become famous. I think too, because of the history of the US and the whole Salem witch trials, I think a lot of people still didn't wanna be classified as a witch or abnormal, so they probably were keeping it quiet. I do think maybe the mediums that who did come forward, some of them, probably not all of them, but some of them probably were really real. But I do think,
But
like,
you also had these people that wanted to believe in life after death, especially when they lost a loved one. So they wanted to believe that. They wanted to believe that it was real as well.
so
So then all these people, mediums claiming they're mediums, let's say the fake ones, are like, "Oh, here's a moneymaker." Like these Fox sisters, I don't know how much money they were making, but I'm sure it was a good business for them at that time. So then that inspired other people to kind of do what they were doing. This
yeah.
like I said, like, they copied off of them and started doing the same thing.
But I also think of, like, mediums today. Like you said, they don't do all the showy stuff anymore, they don't need to. You either believe or you
Mhm.
don't. And, of course, there's probably ones that are fake, but I think back then too, religion was still a big deal, and if I think back then, if you still believed in religion and whatever god you prayed to, I thought you did believe in the afterlife and that
Yeah.
your loved ones were safe and fine. But I think it's also too losing someone instantly or dramatically,
Mhm.
it makes you want more
Closure.
comfort. Yeah, more closure.
Mhm. And then we were talking about how did these sisters come up with these knocking noises and stuff like that. So here's what one of the sisters said. I guess it was Maggie still. She said, "My elder sister took Katie and me to Rochester. There it was that we discovered a new way to make the wraps. My sister Katie was the first to observe that by swishing her fingers, she could produce certain noises with her knuckles and joints, and that the same effect would be made with the toes. Finding that we could make wraps with our feet, first with one foot, then with both, we practiced until we could do this easily when the room was dark. Like most perplexing things when made clear, it is astonishing how easily it is done. The wrapping is simply the result of perfect control of the muscles of the leg below the knee, which govern the tendons of the foot and allow the action of the toe and ankle bones that are not commonly known. Such perfect control is only possible when the child is taken at an early age and carefully and continually taught to practice the muscles, which grow stiffer in later years. This, then, is the simple explanation of the whole method of the knocks and wraps. So,
No, no.
like I said, like the older sister
Mhm.
probably, you know, made them practice it and do it so much that the muscles, it was just like second nature to it to do it. I don't know.
It sounded like y'all had joint problems. I wonder if they had a lot I wonder if they're in a lot of pain because that sounds like you had joint issues and to continually do it. So that means I wonder if that means, like, they basically train their joints to stay loose
Mhm.
because so the baby has loose joints. It's what we used to call being double jointed.
Mhm.
So, he has loose joints. So, it's true, when he would, like, flex his arm, he could make a continual popping sound.
Mhm.
He used to be able to do with his knees, anything. They were saying as he gets older, hopefully, they would tighten, but he's not to overextend these joints because they won't tighten. So, I'm wondering by them training to do that, they basically didn't let their joints close like they should have. But I would
Mhm.
think but I do know having loose joints is very painful because it takes more work for your joints to do what it's meant to do because it has a bigger gap to get through. So I feel like that too is probably why they were drinking. I wonder if they were in a lot of pain.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. Either way, it's sad. It's sad, and they had a sister that took advantage of them.
Yeah, because if they were made to practice these muscle controls like from a young age,
Mhm.
their muscles definitely didn't stiffen. So it
No.
just stayed like that. So
Mm. Before we pull a card tonight, I want to take a moment to explain why we use tarot in these episodes. You see, tarot isn't just about fortune telling. Each card is a symbol, a mirror of human experience. When we pull a card after a story, it isn't about predicting the future, it's about uncovering the hidden lessons, the deeper truths that echo through time. So tonight, let's see what wisdom the deck has for us in the shadow of the Fox sisters. Tonight's card is the Emperor. Authority, establishment, structure, a father figure. The Emperor upright, as the father figure of the tarot deck, suggests that you are adopting his fatherly role, regardless of whether you are male or female, providing for your family, and protecting and defending your loved ones. You may be the breadwinner or the rock for those who rely on your stability and security. Similarly, the Emperor represents a powerful leader who demands respect and authority. Status, power, and recognition are essential to you, and you are most comfortable in a leadership role where you can command and direct others. As a leader, you rule with a firm but fair hand. You have a clear vision of what you want to create, and you organize those around you to manifest your goal. You listen to the advice of others, but you prefer to have the final say. Conflict doesn't scare you, and you don't hesitate to use your power to protect those you care about. And in return, those people will repay you with the loyalty and respect you deserve. Claim your authority as a leader and influencer, and don't let others put you down.
Take charge.
Yeah. So it's so funny because last week's card was talking about trying to bring like ideas to fruition, but making
Like, you
sure
have
that
all these ideas, I think, and you kinda keep it to yourself and kind of
yeah.
start bringing it out, yeah.
Yeah, so it was so funny because then I was talking to my sister. She was making something, and she was like, "Oh, yeah, we bought this pateles." She's like, "We bought them from this new guy because the other guy we were getting from, he was making them real small for all this price." And I was like, "Man, I have a grinder. I wonder if I make them, if I could sell them here." I said, "But the Puerto Rican community in where we're at is small, and we really don't know anyone." So I was like, I don't know if anybody will want them because it's one of those things that if you don't know what it is, you might not want to try it because of how it looks.
Yeah, but s there's a lot of people that like trying new things too.
True.
That yes, there's people that don't want to,
Yeah.
but I think there's more people that do.
Yeah. So I was like, I got a grinder. I could pop out like 100 a weekend, like one day, and just freeze because you're supposed to freeze them anyway, and sell them. And my sister was like, "Oh, well, try about Tony's job." And I was like, I don't think that they want it.
But
I
you
don't
don't
know.
know, you don't
True,
know.
true, true.
It could pop off. And that's the story of the Fox sisters, pioneers of spiritualism, tangled in mystery, controversy, and legend.
The knocks may have stopped, but their echoes still linger.
Until next time, shadow seekers, stay vigilant, stay awake, stay aware of the shadows that follow, because not all shadows are harmless.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Yeah. My bitch is busy, so I got to my day job.
That's right.